Brian Kilmeade was filling in for Tucker Carlson, and man, did he torch the lamestream media. We're going to see how Fox News is actually doing an excellent job exposing how the liberal media lies. And if you stick with me to the very end of this video, I'll show you how that revelation of the media's deliberate dishonesty promises nothing less than the end of the Democratic Party itself. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. It's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and deceitful times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. And also, gang, make sure to click on that link below and give some love to the sponsor of this video. And that is the amazing company called Replace Your University. Our dear friend Michael Lush is showing patriots by the thousands how you can build your own personal parallel economy so you can do more of what you love, like fighting for freedom without worrying about your financial future. He's even going to show you how to pay off your mortgage in 5 to 7 years. I'm totally serious. He's amazing. Check him out. Click on that link below and book a free consultation call with Michael. He's one of us. He's a patriot, and he's here to serve you. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Take it away, Brian.
Joe Biden's lackeys in the media already got the memo, too. The very news outlets that employ ex-intelligence agents, who are disgraced, by the way, Andy McCabe, John Brennan, James Clapper, have already declared you're not allowed to be outraged at the raid of Mar-a-Lago, which, by the way, wasn't even a raid.
It wasn't a raid on his house. No doors were kicked down.
It's all legal. It's all lawful. It's not a raid.
And I know Donald Trump is saying that this is a raid, but that's a gross exaggeration.
We have to be careful not to adopt the term raid.
The only reason you'd have a search like this, and let's be polite and call it a search and not a raid.
Trump talks about a raid on his home. No, man, there was no raid on your home.
This was not a raid. We should not think of this as the FBI in the middle of the night banging down the door with someone answering in their boxer shorts. Explain to us what today would have looked like, because it's definitely being mischaracterized by a lot of folks out there.
Hey, in the words of Joe Biden, it was a raid, Jack.
It was a raid, Jack. That was great. Now, what Kilmeade just did there is a masterclass in what we talked about in yesterday's video, and that's something called virtual politics. And I've got to say, in many respects, I am so grateful that this raid happened, because not only is it galvanizing both the Republican and independent vote like never before, like we talked about in our morning video today. I'll leave a link down below for you. But it's single-handedly revealing for all to see just how corrupt our legacy media really is in terms of how the media works together with the corrupt intelligence agencies to push a carefully scripted, carefully orchestrated kabuki theater that is deliberately designed to benefit the deep state, the status quo, the permanent political class. That is precisely what scholars call virtual politics. Virtual politics is a deceptive perception of the political order pushed by the legacy media. As you can see, they all follow the exact same carefully orchestrated script in order to fabricate the notion that our politics are perfectly moral and fair and democratic, and that we're always a nation that abides by the rule of law, while in reality, everything in our political life, from the three-letter agencies to the military-industrial complex, to the national security apparatus, to the IRS, to the Federal Reserve, and the 20-plus banks that own it, all of it always operates in accordance with what benefits the permanent political class. That, in a nutshell, is virtual politics. The mainstream media reads off a script, those carefully orchestrated talking points that frame our politics so as to deliberately deceive us into believing that the powers that be are working on our behalf, when in reality, they're working on behalf of the values, interests, and concerns of the permanent political class. Keep in mind, this is the same mainstream media that tried for 3 years to sell us on the Russian collusion hoax that they helped fabricate. It's the same media that tried to sell us on 2 fraudulent impeachments, again, that they fabricated. It's the same media that told us repeatedly that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. And, of course, this is the same media that's now telling us that January 6th was a bona fide insurrection. This is virtual politics, and Brian Kilmeade and Fox News expose that blatant media deception brilliantly.
On late night TV, former comedian turned lunatic Stephen Colbert, who recently orchestrated an insurrection of his own, celebrated the news as if it was a religious holiday.
It may be hot outside, but in here, it's Christmas. Because yesterday, we all got the present we wanted. FBI agents raided Mar-a-Lago. That's the most beautiful sentence America has ever produced.
Does he know he's not supposed to use the word raid?
Yeah, Colbert is basically soulless at this point. He sold his soul to the partisanization of late-night television a long time ago. We've got some videos on that if you're interested. Here, I think it's important to remember something that Glenn Greenwald once observed, which is very insightful. As far as the left is concerned, it's always okay to lie, just as long as those lies disparage your political opponents. I mean, Greenwald spent years embedded in the mainstream media, and he found out that the legacy media outlets know that their audience are overwhelmingly left-wing, and they found that their left-wing audiences don't mind the media lying as long as such lies are aimed at their political adversaries. They want the lies publicized and disseminated among the wider population. So that's all Colbert and the rest of the far-left zealots in the media are doing here. They're openly lying about the unreproachable motives of the Justice Department and the FBI in this raid, even though they're throwing each other under the bus as we speak. And they won't even use the term raid, for heaven's sakes.
Well, the FBI raid at Mar-a-Lago isn't the end of the Democratic Party's war against Donald Trump and its voters. It's just the beginning. Why? Because if you can embark on a crusade of never-ending witch hunts to remove a sitting president from office and then raid his home more than a year after he left, then it's clear you can do anything. There are no limits to your power. Now, yesterday we saw just one example of how the Department of Justice is unleashing the power on regime dissidents. You know, just a day after federal agents raided Donald Trump's Palm Beach home, FBI agents approached Republican Congressman and Freedom Caucus Chair Scott Perry while he was traveling with his wife and children. They immediately seized Perry's cell phone before he could consult an attorney. Republicans in Congress must put a stop to this abuse of power immediately. Find some way to do it. They should do whatever they can to stop all order of business in the House and Senate till the Democrats call off their dogs at the DOJ. It can't wait to the midterms. That might be too late.
Now, here's probably the one place I would disagree with Kilmeade on. I don't think he goes far enough here, to be honest with you. This isn't about simply holding the DOJ and the FBI accountable. I think what Newt Gingrich said on our video yesterday was much more to the point. We are on the precipice of a group of truly evil people who are prepared to destroy the Constitution and the rule of law and are proving that every single day. And we need to stop treating them as normal people. They are liars, they're thugs, they're evil, and they need to be treated accordingly. In other words, the leadership in both the Democratic Party and the three-letter agencies, which are one and the same at this point, they are beyond redemption. There is no reasoning with them. There are no oversight committees that can meet this challenge. This is going to require one of the most aggressive acts of power from the right, from the MAGA-dominated Republican Party, to crush and shatter the Democratic Party as a national institution. I'll say it again. I've been saying it all week. The Democrats crossed the line here. It's a line every single one of their political predecessors knew you were never to cross. The moment you begin raiding the homes of a former president and indicting fellow members of Congress and threatening a political party's voters, you have unleashed World War III, politically speaking. You have triggered mutually assured destruction. You have guaranteed that the other political side is going to shatter you when they come to power. That is what the Democrats and the FBI have unleashed as of this week. That's what Gingrich, who's a historian, that's what Gingrich thinks is happening. It's playing out right now, right before our very eyes. Of course, the rhinos aren't going to do anything, but this is only going to hasten their demise. No one is going to want to vote for rhinos anymore when all they do is pee in their pants whenever the Democrats get so aggressive. Voters want fighters. And those fighters, as we've already seen with the ultra-MAGA candidates ready to storm Washington in November, Those fighters are promising to crush the Democrats and dismantle the administrative state like never before. I think we're way beyond holding anybody accountable. We have now entered an arena, and I suspect there will be only one party standing in the end. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Definitely check out my latest video on the polls coming out, showing definitively that the FBI raid has officially backfired spectacularly on the Democrats. It's going to make your day, so make sure to click on that link, and I will see you over there. God bless.